morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to the next part of the Ka-Pow Comics Special 2025 Countdown. Sorry, I had to get off my chest. It's been a day when I've spent a long time thinking about this one, because I was going through my list and it was lower than I expected it to be, but it is a great comic book, and I feel if it just carried on a little bit longer, or if there was more to it, should I say, it's going to carry on longer, I might have put it higher. But based on the first three issues, Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez's new Batman series is absolutely worth a place on the list. I've got to say, I feel like this time next year, I might have put it a little bit higher. I feel like every issue I've liked, but I'd only read 3 issues when I dropped this list, put this list together, and I've since read the 4th issue, and it is brilliant, it's amazing, and it just makes me go, yeah, I really do like this comic book. But weirdly, it's not the best Batman book on this list, so stay tuned for that one. But it is amazing. And it's amazing for a few reasons. We'll start with Jimenez. His artistry is just phenomenal. I mean, he has been doing this for a while now. If anyone is absolutely going to nail a Batman comic book and know exactly what to bring to it, bearing in mind changes made by the rest of the creative team, it's going to be Jimenez. He knows what he's doing, and there's a couple of bits and pieces which he's just spectacular at. Some of them are kind of Route 1 stuff, which I'd expect every comic book artist to be able to do. Fantastic individual character design, including stuff where if we see the same character multiple times over a run, but time has passed, they are still instantly recognisable, even though their hair or clothes may have changed. They are still just, so much of themselves is put out there into the world by the artistry that it just looks amazing. And I'd like to think that it's a kind of thing most comic book artists will be able to say they could do fairly easy, but I have seen some who can't, and I do feel like it's kind of an easygoing compliment to give to an artist of his freaking talent. The other thing he does brilliantly is three-point perspective of cities, and Lord, if you're going to do anything involving Gotham City, you need to be good at this, not just in the general terms of layout and making it look like a real vibrant London city, and to play around with light and shadow very effectively. It needs to be almost cyberpunk-esque with the bright lights, the neon glow of it, but in a cyberpunk way, in that those neon lights are casting shadows, and they should be deep and rich shadows. And this one is vital, especially because Gotham City, you're usually following somebody like Batman around. You need to be able to do it from different angles. You can't just have a flat look at the city. You need to be able to do it so no matter where the POV of, the view of the reader is, it needs to make sense and needs to add something to it. And when you're throwing in big action sequences and chases and combat sequences, all this kind of stuff in a city like Gotham, so many things that you could do wrong. Jimenez does not do any of that. He's absolutely brilliant at it. But the writing is also fantastic. Fraction, I think he's jumping onto a little bit of a bandwagon, but it's got Harley on at the moment, so it's still fairly early, which is doing a little bit more back to basic comic book storytelling. Not necessarily back to basic Batman, although it is entertainingly simple to start with. We do just get simple little ideas of stories and characterizations. But when I say the back to basics, it's the thing that Ryan North did. Is it Ryan North or Nolan North? I'm totally blank. North. Let's call him North. On Fantastic Four, which is basically starting in issue 1 and then finishing the story before issue 2. And I'm like, yes, brilliant. Sell people comic books where they're coming to store, buy a comic book, and get a story. That is just a great way of doing it. I'm genuinely amazed that I'm pushing 50 and I'm still not seeing enough comic book creators doing this kind of thing. I do think it is the right way forward. I have spoken at length about how frustrating I find the current crossover culture for the big 2 comic book creative companies out there, English comic book creative companies out there, and how often these things seem to all intertwine with each other. I think there's always room in a shared universe to have little bits of crossovers, but when we have big yearly events which have its core series and then multiple spin-offs and ongoing series which tie into the main spin-off crossover thing, it just becomes unwieldy. And there's something to be said for, as I say, the back to basics. Here's a Shiva comic book, here is the story. Yes, each one of it does follow along. There is narrative stuff in there. We're not going back to proper old school Golden Age superhero stories where every single individual comic book was practically its own entire universe. They still have narrative flow, and we can see that stuff is being built up even with just a few issues. But there's something just glorious about knowing that if somebody came in and just picked up I've got a copy of issue 3 on the shelf right now. If somebody just picked that up, we'd be like, yeah, cool, you can just pick that up and read it. Yeah, you might not know everything that's going on, but you can just get a full comic book from that and story from that. And if you don't want to carry on reading it, like, yeah, okay, cool. You don't have to be like, oh, but I've got to get the next bit. There's no risk of sunk cost fallacy of, I've already got the first 19 issues of this 20-part thing, so I might as well spend extra money, even though I haven't been particularly enjoying it. No, it's just read it until you don't want to read it anymore. And I think it's working. I mean, not just for me. We're only one store, so I don't want to like put too much onto like how the world is responding to this one. But if you take the second and third best-selling stories, comic books in this store, just based on subscription alone, not off the shelf as well, that is going to be Transformers number 2 and Ultimate Spider-Man number 3. If you add our subscription list for those two things together, it is only just more than Batman, which is number 1. And Absolute Batman is below both of those as well. It is outselling 2-1 Absolute Batman, which is the biggest comic book in the world right now. I absolutely love it. I think it's doing fantastically. And like I say, I feel if I'd have had a little bit more time to sit with it, it could be higher up in the list, but I have to go with where it was when I put the list together. That's it for me for now, though. There'll be more into the top 10 next time I do one of these things. So make sure you come back. Until I see you all again, look after you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.